You invented Itchy? The Itchy and Scratchy Itchy?
Sure. In fact, I invented the whole concept of cartoon violence. Before I came along, all cartoon animals did was play the ukulele. I changed all that.
Well, I'm not calling you a liar, but I can't think of a way to finish that sentence.
Terrific Tariq Lucy's.
She said, take your time, what's the rush?
I was in New York at the time. I'd been producing a series of pictures for a company there. They were about a rabbit called Oswald. But I lost that. They took it away from me, so I was all alone and had nothing. And Mrs. Disney and I were coming back from New York on the train, and I had to have something. I said, by the time I get to Hollywood, I must have something to, I can't tell them I've lost Oswald. So I had this mouse in the back of my head, because a mouse is a sort of a sympathetic character, in spite of the fact that everybody's frightened of a mouse, including myself.
So Mickey Mouse was born.
So this is Walt Disney giving his account on the creation of Mickey Mouse. Just remember this for now, it will be really important later. My personal favorite season of The Simpsons has always been that 7th season. So many iconic stories, gags, the perfect mix of funny and heartfelt. And while my favorite episode as an adult is definitely Scenes from the Class Struggle in Springfield, the country club one, as a kid, it was the day the violence died, the one about the creation of Itchy and Scratchy.
Hey, my threads, baby!
The episode introduces Chester J. Lampwick, an old man who claims that Itchy was stolen from him back in the 20s. After he shows Bart an original print of the first Itchy cartoon dated back to 1919, it's Bart who does whatever he can to make sure that he gets the credit that he deserves. The only way it ends up working out is when Bart goes to get an old animation cell from the comic book store that Chester drew for the short, proving his case.
It's valuable, huh?
Ooh, your powers of deduction are exceptional. I simply can't allow you to waste them here when there are so many crimes going unsolved at this very moment. Go, go, for the good of the city.
Loser.
See, I would say he sounds like me here, but he didn't say the N-word, so I think when I was a kid, I just loved anything that was about cartoons and cartoon history. That might have been why I latched onto this one so hard and called it my favorite. Well, that, and it's also very, very funny.
I gave you a plate of corn muffins back in 1947 to paint my chicken coop, and you never did it!
Those corn muffins were lousy.
Paint my chicken coop!
Make me.
Beyond that though, this episode is very specifically about the creation of Mickey Mouse. Even down to Chester saying that Itchy was stolen from him during the exact same year that Mickey Mouse was created in 1928. But, okay, if Walt created Mickey back in the 20s on the train like he said, how could this episode possibly be about Mickey? So here's the thing, it was Walt's company. He put the people in place, he approved the ideas and hustled with his brother to get the bread and team together for everything that they wanted to do. He did Mickey's voice until he couldn't do it anymore. He looked for the opportunity for animation, and even when there weren't any, he found a way to convince people that there were some anyway. But that's kind of where it stops. Walt never directed a movie. He never drew any storyboards or animated any of the dwarves. But yet, it's his name that we think of when we think of the hand that created Mickey Mouse. We think of him when we think of Snow White, Pinocchio, Dumbo. So, how did we get here? Hold on, I gotta pay some bills real quick. Today's video is brought to you again by Factor.
You ain't got nothing in there to eat?
Factors take the stress out of meal planning and set you right up for success. You know the spiel already. Skip the grocery store, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietary and approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan and veggie, and so much more, skip the overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious. Get new chef-crafted restaurant quality meals every week at a fraction of the price. They're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which just means more time for you. More time to watch Terrific Tariq. When things get hectic, Factor is flexible. Change your order up every week with plans from like 4 to 18 meals per week. Or pause or reschedule your delivery anytime. They got these juices that I love, yum, 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 in my damn tummy. Whenever I'm starving like Marvin, I can always count on the Factor to make me not starving. These aren't hard to write at all. 10 minus 2 is 8, as in I just ate a Factor.
Wow, you need a road map for that one.
You can't vibe on an empty stomach. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use promo code TOONRIFICTARIQ50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code TOONRIFICTARIQ50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. In a 1999 documentary that starts with the Disney logo but is hilariously not on Disney Plus, I wonder why, they tell the real story of where Mickey came from, and it damn sure wasn't on no train. Iwerks and Walt Disney met when they were pretty young. They practically discovered what animation was together. They invented Oswald the Lucky Rabbit together in 1927. And when Universal, the company that they were producing the cartoons for, tried to snake Walt and steal the character a year later, Ub was the only one to hit Walt and keep it 100.
Oswald was stolen from Walt. I mean, the rug was very much pulled out from under him by his distributor, Charles Mintz, who, when Walt wanted more money, simply said, not only am I not going to give you more money, I've stolen most of your staff away. They're already signed to work for me, and I own the character. That's when he decided that he would never not own his own work again. But it also meant he needed to come up with something new. He needed a new character. And in this, he turned to Ub.
Walt, Ub, and animation legend Les Clark all left Universal and went back to the drawing board. Ub was the one who sat at his desk and not only sketched and designed Mickey Mouse, he animated the first cartoon on his own, by hand, 700 drawings a day in like 2 weeks. I'd even go as far to say that the nigga Walt never animated Mickey Mouse. As far as I know, he ain't even touched the damn pen since Oswald. Think about that clip I played earlier of Walt talking about how he drew Mickey Mouse on the train.
I'd been producing a series of pictures for a company there. They were about a rabbit called Oswald. But I lost that. They took it away from me, so I was all alone and had nothing.
The nigga said, I was alone. Like, what do you even mean? The homies quit with you. You didn't even animate the cartoons, and there's like physical proof. The cartoon tells you who drew it. I should call my therapist. I'm yelling at dead people again. Oh, Betty White, stop tickling me. I'm trying to record this video. When it got to the point where the company was getting bigger and Mickey was getting more popular, Walt, despite not being the one actually making the cartoons, demanded more of Ub and even started doing stuff like changing the timing on his exposure sheets, which is essentially the animation equivalent of somebody reorganizing your entire crib after you just set it up. Like, just nasty work. I ain't gonna lie, we would have had to fight. At the top of 1930, Ub left Walt and took an opportunity to start his own studio to make the cartoons that he wanted to make his way and to be known for it. Ub would come back to Disney eventually and they would piece it up. But here's the thing. If you don't have like a PhD in dweebonomics, you probably did not know this story until I just told you. You probably didn't even know Iwerks existed. There's no denying that the day the violence died, that Simpsons episode borrowed a lot from this real life story about this man who created arguably the most important cartoon character of all time and never got the flowers for it. But I don't know, the last time I watched it, it really got me thinking about the general public and how they not only view animation, but view the people behind these characters. I think what happens a lot of the time is that when creators of a cartoon are in interviews, in press, doing appearances on podcasts and like hosting the Oscars and shit, they understandably become what you think of when you think of that cartoon. And because of that, I think that general audiences tend to attribute everything about that show or that character or that world to that one person. They think that Matt Groening is like this genius because of how funny and timeless Simpsons or Futurama or Disenchantment are. They think that Seth MacFarlane is an unfunny hack because of a bad Family Guy joke they saw on Twitter. But in reality, neither one of these men are solely responsible for the success of these shows. One is more responsible than the other, definitely. But I think that it is very important to know that neither of these men have touched any of these shows in over 10 years. And I think if you actually ask them, they'll tell you that. I mean, Walt probably wouldn't, but these niggas would. Matt Groening has a total of 4 writing credits over the course of 768 episodes, one of which being for the movie, which was written by like 10 other people. Whatever you love about The Simpsons, any aspect of it, I hate to say it, but you'd probably have like 5 other people to thank before you even get to Matt. Whether it be design, the heart, the structure, the humor, even down to the fact that the characters are yellow. Here's a story that I heard in a documentary a few months ago.
So I got a Playboy, and this is where Matt Groening says he was interviewed. So when it came to time to give them a skin color, the animation color is Georgie Poulos chose yellow skin. She never got a proper credit for it.
You see, because they did not have a hairline, our color stylist, Georgie Poulos at the time, I'm guessing she figured, let's make them yellow, because that way you can buy it for the skin color, you can buy it for the hair color.
Seth MacFarlane ran Family Guy for about the first 10 seasons, but left to go make Ted in his other movies. Also, I have seen Back to the Future now, so I can confidently say that I only find the Doc Brown cameo in A Million Ways to Die in the West only slightly annoying. Nowhere near Neil Patty Harris shitting in that hat. Oh shit, how was he still going? By the time all of that was over, he never really went back. He is documented as recently as this year saying that he damn near never reads the scripts for episodes until he steps foot in the booth.
I read the script for the first time during my recordings, and so I laugh at what?
By the way,
shocker.
that does make two of us.
When Family Guy was first canceled, Seth created American Dad. But midway through production, Fox ordered more Family Guy. Seth wanted to make sure that Family Guy got back on track, so he left American Dad in the hands of his co-creators, who have overseen it ever since. Just like Family Guy, Seth just comes to work and reads his lines. Yeah, also, stop blaming Seth MacFarlane because you didn't like the new Good Times. Do you guys not know what an executive producer is? It was show ran by a black woman.
How high is the water? Any higher, and our apartment is a community pool.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on a wait list.
Wait list?
Until then, you're gonna have to keep your head above water!
And look, this applies to anything. Mindy Kaling did not make Velma. If you do 10 seconds of research, you learn that this nigga did. I watched the internet rip her fucking head off when all she did was come to work. Aaron McGruder is not the sole reason the Boondocks was as great as it was. And him leaving is not the sole reason that the show went south. The true gag is, he was there a little bit, he just told them to take his name off.
Now in late 2014, Sony would be the subject of an internet hack, and this is when it was slowly revealed why Aaron was no longer attached to his show. Several emails between Magruder's agent and Sony executives went public. Magruder's agent insisted that the press release for the 4th season of The Boondocks say that Magruder was not involved in the new season. After a series of back and forth between the two, it would be revealed that it would be untrue to say that Magruder had no involvement with the new season.
Adult Swim wanted me back, and Aaron didn't.
Huh. Okay, but Aaron ended up not being involved either, so
I guess at some point.
This is Carl Jones, writer for the show, the creator of Black Dynamite, and the voice of Thugnificent. He and other players on the show deserve just as many thanks as Aaron does. And even then, you gotta think about the board artists, revisionists, the coordinators, line directors, timers, the design team. It does not take one person to make a cartoon good. Unless you're Iwerks. And even then, he had other people on ink and paint. The point of this video is not to make you feel bad if you idolize any of these people or to kill any admiration you had for them. And it's not to say that when you see a created by credit, it just means somebody was sitting on their ass collecting the bag. There are so many creators who are really hands-on. While they don't do everything, their vision is what pushes the show or characters into what we perceive them today. Seth, who this video is partially about, did run his show for 10 years. A lot of them do the work, they just don't do everything. I think what I'm trying to get across is that there are so many people behind these shows, these movies, these cartoons, and they deserve to be seen and heard instead of being placed in the shadows of names that are bigger in the credits. They deserve to be appreciated just as much. And they really need your help. The industry, in case you didn't know, has been in really bad shape over the past few years. A lot of really close friends of mine that helped make a lot of really great shows have either been out of work or living on edge, worried that they'll wake up one morning without a job. And when they do have jobs, they are severely underpaid. On paper, it looks like good money, But they make cartoons in LA, bruh. It costs like $15 to breathe out there. And you'd never know that any of this is going on because it's not like it's on the news or anything, right? Not in the same way the writer's strike was, that's for sure. If you want to stay informed, please consider following Animation Workers Ignited. They post a lot of really informative videos that constantly keep you in the loop and remind you of everything that's going on. Post your favorite cartoons, share them with the hashtag #StandWithAnimation to really get people talking. And if you have it to spare, consider donating to the Mutual Aid IA Fund. These aren't strike funds, but it's funds that are the grassroots organized by members of the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees to help people across the union who are struggling financially. Animation specifically is classified under Local 839. I know it just kind of sounds like I just gave y'all a bunch of homework, but if you're able to, I think that everyone would really appreciate the support. Whether you know these people or not, if you watch me, you love what they do. So let's make sure they can keep doing it. I feel like that's what Ub would have wanted. Or not. I don't know that nigga.
First things first, I popper, freaks all the honeys, dummies, playboy bunnies, those wanting money. Those the ones I like cause they don't get Nathan but penetration. Unless it smells like sanitation, garbage I turn like doorknobs. Heart throb never, black and ugly as ever. However, I stay Coochie down to the socks, rings and watch filled with rocks. And my jam knocking your Mitsubishi. Girls pee-pee when they see me, Navajos creep me in they teepee. As I lay down laws like Island Coppet. Stop it if you think they're gonna make a profit. Don't see my ones, don't see my guns, get it? Now tell your friends Papa hit it, then split it in two as I flow with the Junior Mafia. I don't know what the hell's stopping ya. I'm clocking ya, Versace shade watching ya. Once you grin, I'm in, game begins. First I talk about how I dress is this and that.